Good day, my friends. I want to remind you today that you are not walking alone. God is ordering your steps, directing your path, and setting you up for something greater. You may not see it yet, but every challenge, every closed door, and every delay is a sign that He is working behind the scenes for your good. The path God has for you is filled with favor, breakthroughs, and blessings you never expected. Even in the waiting, even in the uncertainty, He is speaking, guiding, and showing you that you are right where you need to be. One of the clearest signs that God is leading you on the right path is the peace that settles deep in your spirit. This isn't just an ordinary fleeting peace. It's the kind that surpasses all understanding. It's a peace that remains even when circumstances don't make sense, even when the road ahead is unclear. When you are in alignment with God's plan, there is a calm assurance in your heart, a knowing that everything is going to be okay, even if you can't yet see how. This peace isn't dependent on what's happening around you. It's a divine gift from the one who holds your future. Have you ever faced a moment where logically you should have been stressed, but instead you felt at ease? That's God's peace at work. Maybe you were about to make a big decision, changing jobs, moving to a new city, or stepping into an unknown season, while others around you were questioning or doubting. Deep inside, you just knew it was right. That's how God speaks. He doesn't always give us loud, dramatic signs. Often He simply quiets our hearts and fills us with a confidence that says, "This is the way, walk in it." When you have that kind of peace, you don't have to second guess yourself. You don't have to analyze every little detail. You can trust that God is guiding you. On the other hand, when something isn't from God, you will often experience the opposite, a sense of uneasiness, restlessness, or even confusion. You might not be able to pinpoint why, but something about the situation doesn't sit right with you. If you find yourself constantly feeling anxious, uncertain, or torn about a decision, it's a sign that you need to pause and seek God's direction. His will is never accompanied by fear, worry, or dread. Yes, His path may stretch you and require faith, but it will never leave you in a state of turmoil. This peace isn't about the absence of difficulties. Some of the greatest journeys of faith come with trials and challenges. You may have to walk through valleys before you reach the mountaintop. But even in those moments, you'll notice that God's peace remains with you. Think about the story of Jesus and His disciples on the boat when a storm hit. The disciples were panicking, but Jesus was asleep. Why? Because He knew that no storm could override God's plan. That's the kind of peace He wants to give you, a peace that allows you to rest even in the middle of the storm. God's peace is also what sustains you when others don't understand your journey. When you choose to follow His direction, not everyone will agree with you. Some may question your decisions. Some may try to talk you out of it. But when you have that deep, settled peace from God, you don't need everyone's approval. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You can move forward with quiet confidence, knowing that God is the one leading you. The people around you may not see what He has placed in your heart, but you can trust that His plans are always for your good. One way to cultivate this peace is by spending time with God daily. The more you pray, the more you listen to His voice, and the more you meditate on His promises, the stronger your peace will be. The enemy will always try to steal your peace by filling your mind with doubt and fear. But when you stay connected to God, His voice will always be louder than the noise of the world. His peace will guard your heart and mind, keeping you steady even when life feels uncertain. So if you're wondering whether you're on the right path, ask yourself, do I have peace in my spirit? Not just momentary relief, but a lasting, deep-rooted peace that stays with me even in challenges? If the answer is yes, take heart. God is leading you. Trust in that peace. Follow where He directs, and know that He is guiding your steps towards something greater than you can imagine. One of the most challenging yet powerful signs that God is leading you on the right path is when doors begin to close. At first, it may not feel like a blessing. In fact, it can be frustrating, disappointing, and even painful. You may have prayed for that opportunity, worked hard for that position, or believed that a certain relationship was meant to last. Then suddenly the door slams shut. No explanation, no warning, just a firm no where you expected a yes. But what if I told you that every closed door is actually God's way of protecting you and redirecting you towards something better? What if the things you thought you needed were actually keeping you from the greater blessings He has in store? When a door closes, it's easy to feel discouraged. You may wonder if you did something wrong or if you missed your chance. But the truth is, a closed door is often a divine intervention. God sees what you cannot see. He knows the dangers ahead, the hidden traps, and the people who are not meant to walk with you into your destiny. That job you didn't get, it may have led to unnecessary stress and drained your joy. That relationship that ended, maybe God saw that it would have kept you from growing into the person He created you to be. Sometimes what looks like rejection is actually redirection. Think about the story of Joseph in the Bible. As a young man, he had big dreams, but before he could step into his destiny, he faced one closed door after another. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. If anyone had a reason to feel abandoned, it was Joseph. But every setback was a setup for something greater. If he hadn't been sold into slavery, he wouldn't have ended up in Egypt. If he hadn't been in prison, he wouldn't have met the person who would eventually introduce him to Pharaoh. And if he hadn't met Pharaoh, he wouldn't have been positioned to save an entire nation. What seemed like closed doors were actually stepping stones to his destiny. God does the same thing in our lives. He allows certain opportunities to pass us by because He has something far greater ahead. The problem is that we often try to force doors open that God has already closed. We chase after things that were never meant for us, and we exhaust ourselves trying to hold on to situations that He is asking us to let go of. But here's the truth. When God closes a door, no amount of striving can open it. And when He opens a door, no one can shut it. Our job is not to force things to happen, but to trust that He is leading us exactly where we need to go. There may be times when you don't understand why a door closed. It may not make sense right away. You may feel stuck in a season of waiting, wondering when the next opportunity will come. But don't let disappointment make you doubt God's plan. What He has prepared for you is worth the wait. Instead of focusing on what didn't work out, shift your perspective. Thank Him for the doors He closed, knowing that they are making room for something better. Remind yourself that delays are not denials, and just because you don't see a way doesn't mean God isn't working behind the scenes. One of the best things you can do when a door closes is to ask God, what do you want to teach me in this season? Often closed doors are not just about the destination, but about the transformation that happens along the way. Maybe He is strengthening your faith, teaching you patience, or preparing your heart for what's next. When you trust that every closed door is part of His divine plan, you can move forward with confidence, knowing that what's ahead is greater than what's behind. So if you've recently experienced a door closing, take heart. It's not a dead end, it's a divine detour. You're not being left behind, you are being led forward. God is positioning you for something you can't even imagine yet. Keep trusting, keep believing, and know that when one door closes, it simply means another, better, bigger, and more aligned with His purpose is about to open. One of the most reassuring signs that God is leading you on the right path is when He keeps confirming it through different sources. You might hear the same message repeatedly in sermons, conversations, books, or even random signs that seem to appear just when you need them. This is not a coincidence. It's God speaking directly to you. When He wants to direct your steps, He often reinforces His message in ways that are undeniable. It's like receiving a divine echo, where the same truth keeps resurfacing in different places, reminding you that you're exactly where you need to be. God knows that sometimes we struggle with doubt. Even when He has given us clear direction, we may hesitate, second guess ourselves, or wonder if we are making the right choice. That's why He sends confirmation to strengthen our faith and remove any lingering uncertainty. Think about how many times in the Bible God reaffirmed His promises to His people. When Moses was unsure of his calling, God provided signs. When Gideon needed reassurance, God patiently confirmed His word. And when Mary received the message that she would give birth to Jesus, He sent an angel to confirm it. God understands our need for assurance, and He lovingly provides it in ways that speak directly to our hearts. These confirmations can come in many forms. Maybe you're praying about a decision, and then someone unexpectedly shares a story that aligns perfectly with your situation. Perhaps you keep stumbling upon the same Bible verse over and over as if God is highlighting it just for you. You might even receive encouragement from a stranger that answers the exact question you were asking God in private. These moments are not accidental. They are divine affirmations, reminding you that you are walking in the right direction. Sometimes confirmation comes through a deep internal knowing. You may not be able to explain it logically, but something inside you just knows that you are on the right track. That's the Holy Spirit at work, giving you a sense of peace and assurance that surpasses human understanding. Even if the road ahead seems uncertain, even if there are challenges along the way, you feel a confidence that wasn't there before. That inner witness is one of the strongest ways God confirms His guidance in your life. However, it's important to stay sensitive to how God speaks. If you are too distracted or caught up in worry, you might miss His confirmations. That's why it's crucial to stay in prayer, spend time in His Word, and remain open to His voice. Sometimes the answer you're looking for is already around you, but you need to quiet your heart to recognize it. The more you seek Him, the clearer His confirmations become. He is always speaking, but we have to be willing to listen. One mistake people often make is ignoring or dismissing God's confirmations because they are expecting something dramatic. While God can use supernatural signs, more often He speaks in subtle, everyday ways. The key is to pay attention and trust that He knows the best way to reach you. If He keeps putting the same message in front of you, don't ignore it, lean into it, pray over it, and ask Him to make it even clearer. When God confirms something multiple times, it's not because He's unsure, it's because He wants you to be sure. So if you've been seeing repeated confirmations in your life, take them as a sign that God is leading you. He is reassuring you, guiding you, and giving you the confidence to move forward. Instead of questioning whether it's just a coincidence, embrace it as divine direction. God does not play guessing games. When He wants you to know something, He makes it clear. Trust in His confirmations. Follow His lead and walk boldly in the path He has set before you. One of the clearest signs that God is leading you on the right path is that you are experiencing spiritual growth. You find yourself hungering for His presence, seeking Him more deeply, and growing in your faith like never before. Your prayers become more intentional. Your desire to read His Word increases, and you begin to see things from a kingdom perspective rather than a worldly one. This transformation isn't by accident. It's a sign that God is molding you, refining you, and preparing you for something greater. He never leads you on a path that leaves you stagnant. His direction always brings growth. Spiritual growth often happens in seasons of transition, challenge, or uncertainty. When God is leading you into something new, He stretches your faith. You may find yourself in situations that require you to trust Him more than you ever have before. It might feel uncomfortable at times because growth always involves change. You may be asked to let go of old habits, step out of your comfort zone, or embrace a new way of thinking. But as difficult as it may seem, this is proof that God is at work in you. He is not just changing your circumstances, He is changing you. One of the most beautiful signs of spiritual growth is that your desires begin to align with God's will. things that used to matter to you don't hold the same importance anymore. Instead of chasing temporary success, wealth, or approval, you begin to long for things that have eternal value. You want to live with purpose, serve others, and walk in obedience. This shift is not something you force. It happens naturally as you spend time with God. The closer you get to Him, the more your heart reflects His. That's why Jesus said, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you. Matthew 6:33, when you put Him first, everything else falls into place. Another sign that you are growing spiritually is that you begin to handle trials differently. Instead of reacting with fear, frustration, or doubt, you start responding with faith. You recognize that challenges are not meant to break you, but to build you. You no longer ask, why is this happening to me? But instead, what is God trying to teach me through this? This shift in mindset is a sign of maturity. It means that you trust God's plan even when you don't understand it. You start to see setbacks as setups for something greater, and you learn to rest in the assurance that God is always in control. Spiritual growth also brings a change in your relationships. When God is leading you, He often removes certain people from your life and brings new ones in. Some friendships and connections may naturally drift apart because they no longer align with where He is taking you. This can be painful, but it's necessary. God wants to surround you with people who will strengthen your faith, encourage you, and walk alongside you on this journey. At the same time, He calls you to be a light to others, to love, serve, and uplift those around you. A sign that you are growing spiritually is that you no longer seek relationships based on personal benefit, but on God's purpose. Another way you know you are growing is that you develop a deeper sensitivity to the Holy Spirit. You start recognizing His voice more clearly. You feel His promptings to pray for someone, to speak words of encouragement, or to take a leap of faith. You become more aware of His presence in your daily life. This is evidence that your spiritual ears are being tuned to hear Him. The more you obey His voice, the more He will reveal to you. His guidance becomes clearer and your confidence in His direction grows. So if you find yourself growing spiritually, if your faith is deepening, if your heart is being transformed, take it as a powerful sign that God is leading you. He does not lead His children into complacency. He calls them higher. He stretches their faith, refines their character, and draws them closer to Him. Spiritual growth is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Keep seeking Him, keep trusting Him, and know that He is leading you into a greater purpose than you can imagine. One of the strongest signs that God is leading you on the right path is when you start facing opposition and challenges. Many people assume that when they're following God's will, everything should fall into place easily. But in reality, walking in obedience to God often brings resistance. The enemy doesn't attack those who are going in the wrong direction. He fights against those who are stepping into their divine purpose. If you've been facing unexpected difficulties, delays, or opposition, it could be a confirmation that you're on the right track. Look at the lives of the great men and women in the Bible. Every single one of them faced challenges when they followed God's call. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused and thrown into prison. Moses faced Pharaoh's resistance and the complaints of the Israelites. David was anointed as king, but spent years running from Saul before stepping into his destiny. Even Jesus Himself faced rejection, persecution, and ultimately the cross. If the Son of God faced opposition, why would our path be any different? The presence of struggles does not mean you're on the wrong path. It often means you're right where you're supposed to be. One of the reasons challenges arise when God is leading you is because He is strengthening your faith. If everything came easily, you wouldn't need to trust Him. But when you face setbacks, delays, and opposition, you have to rely on Him in ways you never have before. He uses these moments to build your endurance, deepen your dependence on Him, and prepare you for the blessings ahead. Just like gold is refined in fire, God refines you through trials so that you will be ready to handle the weight of His calling on your life. Another reason for opposition is that the enemy wants to discourage you. The closer you get to your breakthrough, the harder the attacks may become. The devil knows that if you step fully into God's plan, you will be a threat to his kingdom. He will try to plant doubts in your mind, make you feel unqualified, or bring distractions to pull you away from what God is calling you to do. But here's the good news. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if he didn't see something powerful inside you. If you weren't carrying something valuable, he wouldn't waste his time trying to stop you. Opposition is often a sign that God has something great in store for you. It's also important to recognize that not all challenges come from the enemy. Some are part of God's refining process. Sometimes he allows difficulties not to break you, but to shape you. He may close doors that you thought were right for you because he has something better. He may remove certain people from your life because they can't go where he's taking you. He may allow you to walk through a season of waiting so that your character can catch up with your calling. Instead of seeing these challenges as obstacles, start seeing them as preparation. God is not punishing you, he is positioning you. One of the most important things to do when facing opposition is to keep going. The enemy wants you to give up, to doubt God's promises, to settle for less than what God has for you. But if you keep pressing forward, if you refuse to be discouraged, you will see the victory on the other side. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Your breakthrough is coming, but you must keep moving forward in faith. So if you're facing opposition, challenges, or unexpected difficulties, don't be discouraged. Take it as a sign that you are walking in your purpose. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if you weren't a threat. God wouldn't be allowing the struggle if he didn't have something greater ahead. Instead of backing down, stand firm. Keep praying, keep believing, and keep trusting that God is leading you through this season for a reason. What he has promised will come to pass, and no challenge can stop his plan for your life. One of the most powerful signs that God is leading you on the right path is the deep, unshakable peace you feel in your heart. Even when circumstances around you are uncertain, even when you don't have all the answers, there is an inner stillness, a quiet confidence that you are exactly where you need to be. This peace is not something that comes from external validation, perfect conditions, or the absence of challenges. It is a supernatural peace given by God that surpasses all human understanding. When you are walking in his will, you will experience this peace in a way that cannot be explained but can only be felt. This kind of peace is different from what the world offers. The world's version of peace is based on everything going smoothly, having financial security, good health, stable relationships, and predictable outcomes. But God's peace is present even in the middle of uncertainty. It's the kind of peace that allows you to rest even when you don't know what's next. It's what enables you to keep moving forward even when the future seems unclear. Philippians 4:7 says, "And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This means his peace acts as a shield, protecting you from fear, anxiety, and doubt. One of the ways you can recognize God's peace is through decision making. Sometimes you may be faced with choices that seem logical on paper, but don't sit right in your spirit. Other times God may call you to take a step of faith that doesn't make sense in the natural, yet you feel complete peace about it. This is how God leads his people. He speaks through his peace. If you are considering a decision and you feel uneasy, restless, or confused, that may be a sign that it is not God's best for you. But if you feel a deep sense of peace, even if the road ahead is uncertain, that is a strong indication that he is leading you. God's peace is also evident in difficult seasons. Life is full of challenges, unexpected losses, financial struggles, relational hardships. But when you are in God's will, you will find yourself handling these situations differently. Instead of being consumed by fear, you will have a quiet assurance that God is in control. Instead of panicking, you will feel a steady confidence that He is working things out for your good. This doesn't mean you won't have moments of doubt or worry, but the peace of God will keep pulling you back to a place of trust. You will find yourself saying, I don't know how, but I know God will make a way. Another sign that you are walking in God's will is that His peace remains even when others don't understand your path. Sometimes when God is leading you in a new direction, people around you may question your choices. They may not see the vision God has given you, and they may try to discourage you, but despite their opinions, you still feel an inner confidence about where God is taking you. This is because His peace is not based on human approval, it is based on divine assurance. When God places peace in your heart about something, you don't need everyone else to agree. You just need to trust Him. However, experiencing God's peace does not mean everything will be easy. There may still be challenges, delays, and moments of uncertainty, but through it all, His peace will sustain you. Think about Jesus in the storm. While the disciples were panicking, Jesus was asleep in the boat. He was not moved by the waves because He was fully at peace, knowing that His Father was in control. That same kind of peace is available to you. When God is leading you, you don't have to be shaken by what's happening around you. You can rest knowing that He is guiding your steps. So if you have been walking through a season of transition, uncertainty, or waiting, pay attention to the peace in your heart. If you feel an unexplainable calm, even when things don't make sense, that is a sign that God is directing your path. His peace is a gift. It is His way of reassuring you that you are in His hands. Instead of relying on circumstances to determine your confidence, rely on the peace He has placed within you. It is one of the greatest indicators that you are exactly where you need to be. One of the clearest signs that God is leading you on the right path is when doors start opening that you could never have opened on your own. Opportunities arise, connections happen, and circumstances align in ways that seem almost too perfect to be a coincidence. This is God at work, making a way where there was no way, positioning you exactly where you need to be. When you are following His guidance, He will open doors that no man can shut, and shut doors that no man can open. These moments remind us that His favor is at work in our lives, orchestrating things beyond our control. Sometimes these open doors come in unexpected ways. You may have been striving for something, trying to make things happen in your own strength, only to feel stuck and frustrated. Then suddenly, when you least expect it, the right opportunity appears. That is a sign that God is moving. When He is in control, things don't happen through striving or struggle, but through divine alignment. He doesn't need your manipulation, connections, or force. He simply needs your obedience. When you surrender to His will, He will put you in places that you never could have reached by yourself. One of the mistakes people make is trying to force open doors that God has not ordained. They push and push, trying to make things happen on their own timeline, only to end up exhausted and disappointed. But when a door is from God, you won't have to force it open. It will open naturally in His perfect timing. That doesn't mean you won't have to take action or step out in faith, but it does mean that His grace will be evident. The opportunity will align with your purpose, and everything will fall into place in a way that only He could have arranged. It's important to recognize that not every open door is from God. Just because an opportunity looks good on the surface doesn't mean it's His best for you. That's why it's crucial to seek His wisdom and discernment before walking through any door. Some doors may lead to distraction rather than destiny. Some opportunities may be tests rather than blessings. The key is to stay in prayer, asking God to reveal His will clearly. If an opportunity brings confusion, stress, or compromise, it may not be from Him. But if it brings peace, alignment, and confirmation, it is likely a door that He has opened for you. There are also times when God will close a door that you wanted to walk through. This can be painful, especially when you had your heart set on something. But what you must remember is that a closed door is just as much a sign of His guidance as an open one. He is not rejecting you. He is redirecting you. Sometimes He shuts a door because He has something better ahead. Other times He closes a door because He is protecting you from something you cannot see. Trust that if He is closing a door, it is for your good. When God opens a door, no one can stop it. People may try to hold you back. Circumstances may seem impossible and obstacles may arise. But when God says it's time, nothing can stand in His way. Look at the stories in the Bible when God wanted Joseph to be promoted. No betrayal or prison cell could stop it. When God called David to be king, no enemy could keep him from his throne. When God opened the Red Sea for the Israelites, no natural law could prevent their breakthrough. What God has for you is unstoppable. If He has opened a door, walk through it with faith, knowing that He has already prepared the way. So if you find yourself stepping into opportunities that you know you couldn't have orchestrated on your own, take it as a sign that God is leading you. He is aligning things in your favor, moving behind the scenes and setting you up for greater things. Don't be afraid to step through the doors He has opened. Trust that He has gone before you, preparing the path ahead. When God is the one opening the doors, you can walk through them with confidence, knowing that His hand is guiding you every step of the way. One of the undeniable signs that God is leading you on the right path is that you experience His provision in ways you never expected. When you are walking in His will, He ensures that you have everything you need to fulfill His purpose. This doesn't mean that life will be without challenges or that you will always have more than enough, but it does mean that He will supply what is necessary at the right time, whether it's financial resources, wisdom, strength, opportunities, or the right people. God provides exactly what you need when you need it. His provision is never late, and it is always sufficient. Divine provision often comes in unexpected ways. Sometimes God will provide through an opportunity you didn't see coming, a door that suddenly opens, or a person who steps into your life to bless you. Other times His provision may come in the form of strength to endure a difficult season, wisdom to make the right decision, or favor that allows you to succeed where others have failed. Provision isn't always about material blessings. Sometimes the greatest provision is peace in the storm, clarity in confusion, or endurance when you feel like giving up. One of the most powerful examples of God's provision is found in the story of the Israelites in the wilderness. For 40 years, they wandered without knowing where their next meal would come from, yet God provided manna from heaven every single day. He didn't give them a week's supply at once. He gave them just enough for the day, teaching them to trust Him daily. In the same way, when God is leading you, He may not show you the whole picture at once. Instead, He provides step by step, ensuring that you rely on Him rather than your own understanding. Sometimes God's provision doesn't come in the way we expect. We may be looking for financial blessings, but He provides wisdom to manage what we already have. We may want an immediate answer, but He gives us patience to wait for His perfect timing. We may desire a smooth path, but He provides strength to walk through challenges. When you are on the right path, you begin to recognize that provision isn't just about getting what you want, it's about receiving what you need to fulfill God's plan. His ways are higher than ours, and His provision is always purposeful. Another way to recognize divine provision is through the presence of people God places in your life. When you are following His will, He will bring the right individuals to encourage, support, and uplift you. These people may come as mentors, friends, or even strangers who speak the right words at the right time. Just as God sent Elijah to the widow in Zarephath to provide for her, He will send people into your life to help sustain you in difficult seasons. Likewise, He may also use you as a source of provision for others, allowing you to be a blessing in ways you never imagined. It's important to understand that divine provision doesn't mean life will always be easy or that you will never face lack. There may be seasons of waiting, times when you wonder how things will work out, or moments when provision comes at the last possible moment. But through it all, God is teaching you to trust Him. He wants you to rely on Him as your ultimate provider, not on your job, your bank account, or your own abilities. When you are walking in His will, you learn that provision is not just about receiving, it's about faith, dependence, and recognizing that everything ultimately comes from Him. So if you find yourself experiencing provision in unexpected ways, take it as a sign that God is leading you. If your needs are being met, even if it's not in the way you expected, know that His hand is upon you. He is faithful to supply everything required for the journey He has set before you. Keep trusting, keep walking, and know that when you are in alignment with His will, He will always make a way. As you walk this journey of faith, remember that God is always leading you, even when you can't see the full picture. The signs we've talked about, divine provision, open doors, unexplainable peace, challenges that strengthen you, are all reminders that His hand is upon your life. When you are in alignment with His will, you don't have to live in fear, doubt, or uncertainty. You can trust that every step you take is orchestrated by Him, that every obstacle you face is an opportunity for Him to show His power, and that every closed door is simply redirecting you to something greater. Maybe you're in a season where you don't yet see the fulfillment of His promises. Maybe you're wondering if you're truly on the right path. Let me remind you, God is not a God of confusion. He is a God of clarity. If you seek Him, He will guide you. If you trust Him, He will provide. And if you keep walking in faith, even when the road seems uncertain, He will take you places you never imagined. His plan for you is bigger than your fears, stronger than your doubts, and greater than anything you could dream for yourself. So don't be discouraged by the delays. Don't be shaken by the opposition. Don't give up just because the road is tough. The fact that you are facing challenges is a sign that you're moving forward. The fact that you feel peace in your heart despite the uncertainty is proof that He is with you. And the fact that doors are opening in ways you never expected is evidence that He is paving the way for something amazing. The path God has set before you may not always be easy, but it is always worth it. Keep believing, keep trusting, and keep stepping forward in faith. One day, you will look back and see how every moment, the struggles, the victories, the waiting, and the breakthroughs were all pieces of a greater plan. And you'll realize that through it all, God was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. So stand firm, keep your faith strong, and know that the best is yet to come.